Technicians, welcome back again to another video. So today I'm going to talk about the difference between IELTS and TOEFL, and if a biotech or a life science students can write either of these examination in order to enter into a bachelor's or master's or PhD or even postdoc in detail. So let's talk about what's going to be the differences between TOEFL and IELTS. So with no more delay, let's get started to the video. So I'm going to answer you the questions that you have asked. Suppose if a biotech or a life science students can write a TOEFL or IELTS, I'm going to tell you yes, you can write IELTS or TOEFL according to your convenience. I'm going to tell all the differences between it, and whichever you find it comfortable, you can write this examination, because most of the universities in the Europe or Western part as well as in the Asian countries ask for either of IELTS or TOEFL. So through this you can apply your master's degree or your bachelor's degree, and even PhD degrees are also been asked, so based on the English language requirement. So let's talk about first TOEFL. What is this TOEFL? Yes, everybody knows it's going to be test of English as a foreign language. This TOEFL and IELTS examinations are mainly conducted for non-English speaking people. So like Indians, we used to write this examination in order to go over there to show that we can actually able to write and learn and speak in English. So TOEFL is going to be the test of English as a foreign language. And who is the administrative body? Yes, ETS, which is the Educational Testing Service, is conducting this examination. And if you compare TOEFL and IELTS, many used to get confused with what type of English it is going to be. It is a British English or a US English. Very specifically, TOEFL is going to be US English, the North American English. Suppose if you're someone who watches a North American movie and if you're comfortable with an American accent, then definitely you can go for TOEFL. And what's the mode of examination? Is it going to be an online mode or it's going to be offline mode? Definitely TOEFL examinations are conducted in online mode. Previously we used to call it computer-based test, but nowadays we are calling it internet-based test, which is the newer version of the computer-based test. This can be taken in the test centers. So based on the test centers, even your fees will be given. Accordingly, I'll be talking about how much is the nominal fees is going to be. This examination online will be conducted for almost 3 hours. So the duration is almost going to be 3 hours. And TOEFL examination, one important thing is it's usually going to be an MCQ based questions along with some of the things that I'll be talking about, the 4 sections I'll be talking about. So the next thing is how many sections are going to be there. In TOEFL, we can see almost 4 sections. So you can see there is going to be a reading session, a listening, writing and speaking. So we have 4 sections in TOEFL. The first is going to be reading section. In reading section, you're going to have, as I already told you, it's going to be 3 hours and you're going to do this examination for 3 hours, which doesn't mean you have to go only for 3 hours. You have to go prior, because there would be a testing of your languages and whether the microphone works and your certificates, everything will be analyzed before some half an hour. So you should always go a prior time through the test centers. And the reading is going to be for almost 54 to 72 minutes, and reading you have to read some 3 to 4 passages. So 3 to 4 passages will be given. For every passage there will be 10 questions. So if I have to say, they can either give you 3 passages or they can give you 4 passages. And these passages, for every passage you're going to have 10 questions. So almost 30 to 40 questions you have to attempt within 54 to 72 minutes. And the section details, you can read 3 to 4 paragraphs and answer MCQ based questions only. When we compare a TOEFL and IELTS, the reading session in IELTS is very easier comparing with a TOEFL. TOEFL is kind of tougher when we talk about the reading sessions, because here it will be kind of academic questions will be there. But comparatively with an IELTS, TOEFL reading session is kind of difficult. So this is the score you can see. So there are score up to 30. So if you score 0 to 3, it's based on online. So online will access you how you answer the question, MCQ based question. If you're going to get 0 to 3, then it is showing a below low intermediate. If you're going to go and apply for a university, you might be seeing reading, listening, speaking, and they will be talking about the writing skills. In that, they would have given you how much score you should have secured in most of the universities. Some university doesn't ask you for, some university asks the overall 0 to 120 marks, how much you have scored. Some university very specifically ask you this much You need to have a reading score. So if you're going to be within 4 to 17 or 18 to 23, it's good enough to go. Most probably if you score 18 to 23 out of this, then it's very good enough to go for very good universities. So 4 to 17 is considered low intermediate, 18 to 23 is high intermediate, and if you're going to score 24 to 30, then it is advanced. It's very easy to get into any of the topmost universities in the world. So this is all about the reading session in case of TOEFL. What about the listening section going to be? Here it is going to be 41 to 57 minutes, and here also you're going to have 3 to 4 lectures. You're going to listen to it and you're going to answer the question. So for every lecture, almost 3 to 4 lectures will be there. They'll be speaking and you'll be listening to those things and you'll be answering the question. So there will be 3 to 4 lectures and you will be listening. For every lecture, there will be 6 questions. So if you see, there will be almost 18 questions, almost 28 to 39 questions you can see here. And there would be 2 to 3 conversation also will be there. So total questions will be 28 to 39 questions. It's an average range. They can either give you 3 lectures or 4 lectures. It is accordingly. And you have to listen to the audio clips and you have to answer the question, which is going to be MCQ based questions only. And here also there is a score, 30 scores are given. If you're going to score 0 to 8, then it is below low intermediate, 9 to 16 low intermediate, and 17 to 21 is high intermediate. And if you're going to score 22 to 30, then it is advanced level. So this is all about the listening skills. Then comes the writing skills. So reading skills is for almost 54 minutes, I told you. And for listening skills, if you're going to see, it's going to be for some 41 to 57 minutes, and writing skills is 50 minutes. So questions will be 2 tasks will be given and you have to write an essay. Yes. So in TOEFL, one challenging part I can say is reading is going to be kind of consuming your time. And as well as whenever you write something, you need to have a very good typing skill, because you will be writing a very structured and a clear essay. So they'll be asking you to write 2 essays. So we can say 2 tasks you have to do. And in this essay, they're going to analyze your grammatical skills, your vocabulary skills, and how well enough you structured and clearly written your perspective of a topic that's been assigned for you. So if you're going to score in essay 0 to 6, it's below average, or 7 to 11 is basic, and 13 to 16 is low intermediate, and 17 to 23 is high intermediate. If you can score high intermediate, it is well enough to go in for. 24 to 30 is advanced level. So this is about writing. Then comes the speaking skills. So I'll be telling you the differences of IELTS also. In TOEFL, speaking skills will be done only through the online mode. You will never be meeting any of the examiner and you will be talking. But in IELTS, there would be an examiner who will be coming and talking to you for almost 12 to 14 minutes. And how well you answer this question, the examiner will rate you. But in TOEFL, you don't have to do that. Instead, the online, when you're going to speak, it will automatically record, and accordingly, the person will give you how much score you actually got. This is almost going to be for 17 minutes, and they'll be giving you 4 tasks. Either of the 4 tasks they'll be giving you. You have to express your opinion about a very familiar topic. The topics will not be as complicated. They'll be asking you very familiar topics. So they'll be giving you 4 topics, and you just have to speak what do you think about those topics. So 4 familiar topics. If you're going to speak it really well, then you can have an advanced level. So 0 to 9 score below average, 10 to 15 is basic language, 16 to 19 is low intermediate, and 20 to 24 is high intermediate, and 25 to 30, of course, it's going to be advanced level. So this is all about speaking skills. So we have 4 sections here: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. So reading is almost for 54 to 72 minutes. Listening is also going to be MCQ based question, whereas writing alone, you'll be writing an essay. So you need to have a very fast ability of typing, and speaking is going to be for 17 minutes. So the total marks going to be for almost 0 to 120 points. So you'll be having 0 to 120 points. So how well you answer very specifically in all the section is going to decide whether you can get into a university or not. There are certain universities in the US or Canada or France or Japan. They will be having that if you have a TOEFL score of 100 or 100 plus or 90 or 85 plus, then you can enter into the university. So make sure you have at least an intermediate level in reading, listening, writing, and speaking, so that your score comes around to 90 or 100 plus. So how much is the examination fees? So it's definitely going to be online. You'll be going to the test center and you'll be writing all these four sections also. According to the US dollars, it's going to be $190. Indian rupee, it's almost going to be 14,197 rupees. So this much is the amount. So you'll be going to the ETS site and you'll be applying to it and you'll be paying the amount through this one. Suppose if you want to make changes of the dates, then you have to pay an extra amount and you can alter the date to another one. So this is all about the examination fee. Now the question for us is, okay, I've written the TOEFL examinations and I have a very good score, approximately some 90 to 100. So what are the countries are accepting this TOEFL examination? Mostly TOEFL examinations are accepted by almost all the university, whether it is in US or it is in the European countries or Asian countries. Most of the universities accepts TOEFL score. So United States, United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, all the Europe, Canada, Ireland, Germany, France, all of them accepts TOEFL score. So TOEFL scores are always accepted. And if I have to talk about a very good TOEFL score, in order to be into a safer side, to get into any of the university, it is always important you score approximately 100 plus or 90 to 100. If you're going to manage it to 95 to 100, then most of the topmost university you can apply for your bachelor's or for your master's or even for your PhD also. Okay, how is the score sent to the university? Okay, you have scored almost 100 or 100 plus marks. And who has to send the score to them? ETS will be sending you the score to the university. So scores sent to the university. Initially, when you're going to the center, they would be asking you what are the university you will be applying for. So when you're going for the test centers itself, you need to know which university you will be applying to. So through that time, you have to inform to them what are the university you'll be applying to. After your results are announced, then ETS will send these marks or your points to the respective university that you have given to them. Almost for 4 university, they will do it free. After that, you have to pay the additional charges. So ETS only will send it to the university. And most of the questions, if you're going to see whether it is in reading or listening or writing or in speaking, you will see some academic passages with challenging vocabulary and concepts. Definitely, you need to know a lot of vocabulary when we talk about TOEFL. So you can go for many sites which will be like having some 10 to 20 vocabularies every day you have to study, which is a complicated vocabulary, along with some amount of the concept of how to frame or reframe a sentences, everything. To be very specific, if I have to talk about, TOEFL requires a very good typing speed. If I have to talk about writing abilities, you have to do 2 tasks, which means you have to write 2 essays which is structured and clear, which means you have to type very faster. If you're going to type very faster, then you can actually consume your time. Even if you know most of the things and if your typing speed is not faster, you would not be able to reach 95 to 100. So this is all about TOEFL, which is ETS is conducting, and it is US English, North American English. If you're very comfortable with North American English, definitely go for TOEFL. But according to the test takers, it is believed that IELTS is comparatively easier than TOEFL. But it is up to you guys to decide whether TOEFL is easier for you or IELTS is easier for you. But when it comes to reading session, of course, IELTS is easier. So it is IBT definitely, and I talked about the 4 section. The total marks is going to be 0 to 120 and the examination fee is going to be almost 14,000 according to our Indian rupee, and a good score is 90 to 100, and almost all the countries or all the university in the country accept this TOEFL score. Now come to the IELTS. What about IELTS? Let's talk about IELTS in detail. Yes, if you're comfortable with a British English, definitely you can go for IELTS score. So this is International English Language Testing System. This is not from the ETS, it is from British Council, IDP. IELTS Australia also takes this. Cambridge also takes this one. So this is IELTS, which is UK English, not US English, it is UK English. And the mode of examination is going to be 2-way possible. As I already told you, TOEFL is definitely going to be IBT, internet-based test. Whereas this is going to be, you can take up online mode either at a home or you can go to a test center or you can take it by offline. But people usually go in for paper based or online based at a center. So how much is the duration? When I talked about TOEFL, I told you it's going to be 3 hours. But IELTS is going to be for 2 hours, 45 minutes. And here mostly you will have short answer question, not like MCQ questions that you have seen in case of TOEFL. When we talk about any reading sections or writing writing session is essay. So when you talk about reading sections, you used to have a question and you will be ticking only the MCQ type of questions. But here you have to answer short answer questions. So here also you're going to have 4 sections. You can see same goes reading, listening, speaking and writing. So one important difference is I'm going to talk about is speaking. So first let's talk about reading. And reading is going to be for 20 minutes. It's going to be 20 minutes and you have to read 3 sections. And this is definitely going to be a multiple type question. And this can be from a newspaper or from a magazine or from a textbook. It can be from any way possible. The most important thing when you have to go in for any type of question, understand the vocabularies will be given. So you need to know the meaning of every vocabulary which is given so that it will be easy for you to answer. So this is all about the reading. What about listening? Yes, listening is going to be for 30 minutes you have to listen and you have to listen 4 sections, 4 tasks will be given and you have to answer the questions accordingly MCQ based. Speaking is the most important thing. When we talk about TOEFL, when you're doing IBT itself, the speaking mode will be analyzed. But this you have to go to the examiner and you have to talk. So they are going to analyze you, then they will be giving you the score for you. So speaking is going to be in person, real examiner will be there, almost 12 to 14 minutes. This will be there. They'll be asking an introductory conversation about you they'll be asking, and whatever familiar very basic questions they'll be asking you. If you're very confident enough in understanding the British English, then definitely it's very easy for you to have a very good band score when it comes to speaking. And writing is going to be 60 minutes and here also you will be writing a short essay, approximately 200 to 250 words, and usually it will be graph based only. Usually you will be having some graph based kind of questions also will be given. So writing is also going to be there. So reading, listening, speaking and writing. Speaking is going to be in person, not like that of a TOEFL. So this is all about the sections of IELTS. And how much is the score? Previously in TOEFL, I said it's going to be 0 to 120 points. Here it's going to be 0 to 9. So we used to call it in the form of band. So the examination fee, when you're going to talk about it, it's going to be 15,500 if you're going to take an online based test, and the same goes for paper based IELTS, which is 15,500 for an Indian rupee. For dollar, it would be $215 approximately. And what are the countries which accepts IELTS? So US, Europe, Australia. So Canada usually, not most of the Canadian university, if you're going to talk, they're going to accept IELTS. They used to prefer TOEFL. But countries, US, all the European countries, Germany, France, Australia accepts. Australia accepts another exams also, which is PTE. So countries accepts IELTS also, but you have to check in which university asks for IELTS only. Some of the university will accept both IELTS or TOEFL. Whichever you have written, then you can go for it. What is this band? Okay, this is the most important thing. This is going to decide which university you can get through. So based on all the 4 sections, you will be given a band score. I told you 0 to 1 is going to be given. Suppose if you score 9 band, you are an expert user. You will get into the top universities in the world. If you're going to get 8 band, very good user. 7 is a good user. 6 is competent user. Maybe from 6 to 9, if you're going to able to score, then it is actually a well good score. 5 is a modest user and 4 is a limited user and 3 extremely limited and 2 is intermediate and 1 is a non-user. So always try to have some 7 to 9 bands when you are going to apply for some top university, whether it's PhD or for your masters. As I already mentioned, for this TOEFL, this ETS will send the score to the university, but this scores will be sent to the test takers to you through a post or through an email within your test period. 2 to 3 weeks you will get it. Even for TOEFL also you will get the same thing, but the ETS will send your score to the universities. So this question type will be academic passages, advertisements, newspapers for reading sections. Very specifically for the reading sections, it's going to be comparatively easier than the TOEFL when it comes to reading section. It allows you to write down the answers. Yes, when it's going to be a paper-based mode, it's very going to be easier because you will be writing it. But when it comes to TOEFL, if you're going to take IBT, if you're going to write a big essay, you need to do 2 essays, which means you have to have a very good typing skills. So now you might be having a question, is biotech life science students can take up this examination? Definitely both of you can take up, whether you are belonging to any of the life science background or biotech background, you can take TOEFL or IELTS. If anybody is comfortable with British English, you can take up IELTS. If anybody is comfortable with an North American English, then you can go for TOEFL. So whichever is possible, you can take up. But when it comes to reading, of course, IELTS seems easy, but TOEFL has its own heritages because most of the universities accepts TOEFL also and IELTS also, but Canada University most predominantly accepts TOEFL. If you're trying for Canada, then definitely go in for TOEFL, or else you can go for any one of these things. So today I was talking about the difference between IELTS and TOEFL and whether a biotech life science students can take up this examination. Yes, you can take up this examination, so understand the differences and accordingly prepare for the examinations. So I believe that this video is helpful for all of you watching. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to meet you back again with another wonderful, useful video for all of you. Thank you so much.